Hello, happy new moon in Scorpio. Oh goodness, now is the time to ask ourselves to deeply reflect emotionally. How do we want to absolutely grow and transform over this lunar cycle, over the next month, over the next 2 weeks of the rest of Scorpio transit, over the next month having Mars in Scorpio? This is this is really a beautiful opportunity that doesn't come around. That is quite rare. I don't even know how many times it would come around. I don't know if 2 years ago. I don't think we had it 2 years ago. Who knows if we'll have it 2 years from now? Who knows? Who cares? What the most important thing is asking yourself again: how is it that I wish to grow? And focusing specifically on your emotion, your drive, your feeling of passion, your excitement. That is the most important thing during this time. Now, before we get into the wonderful positives of this transformation, this possible transformation, we do need to look at the challenges. Again, just like the last transit video said, there Scorpio, along with Gemini, my natal sun and Mercury energy, has a wide spectrum. And ultimately, this spectrum can, oftentimes, this is why people who are Geminis or Scorpios tend to go to one side of the spectrum or the other. They're either in a wonderful positive upward spiral where they're self-aware and they know their challenges, they know their fears, they know their goals, their dreams, and they're going for it, and they're taking care of themselves, or the exact opposite. They don't know these things, they're not empowering themselves, they're getting caught up in fear, whatever it might be. So this is what we all need to keep in mind, because of course we're all experiencing these energies. It's almost like we're putting on these clothes to live in for a time. And I think especially with not only Mars and Sun both being in Scorpio, like we covered in the last video, Mercury and Mars are directly conjunct. And just speaking generally, and then we'll get into the specifics, the challenge during this time is for all of that passion, that incredible passion that over today and over the course of tomorrow, we are majorly setting the stage for this next 30 days of passion. The challenge is for us to not focus that passion on our transformation, on our growth, and to instead search for things that we might want but aren't actually in our best interest, that aren't going to help us to really truly grow and transform. They might be pleasing, but ultimately they're not really necessary. They're not taking us to that next level. Or in some ways, even worse, we might give in to the anger, the fear. Again, fear is the greatest challenge. I know I said it last time, but again, just like FDR said, the only thing to fear is fear itself. And I think that just as much as we're being passionate and focused on our goals and on our transformation, and okay, how is it that I want to truly change myself over the next 30 days? And I don't mean change in a flippant way. I mean a change in the sense of I want to be able to get rid of this particular fear in my life. I want to grow stronger, wiser, more mature. I want to be able to do this thing that I couldn't do before. I want to be able to do this thing. I want to be able to manifest this particular project or whatever it is. This phase in my development that I have not manifested thus far, and thus I have no idea, like that's a new version of me with that new accomplishment. That it's very possible during this time. In fact, that, what we just talked about, the beautiful, best part of this opportunity of all of this energy, that is not easy. It's a lot easier to just say, you know what? Instead, I'm just going to be mad. I'm going to be mad at myself. I'm going to be mad at others around me. I'm going to be mad, especially in a relationship. I'm going to be mad at the world because it's their fault that I am not who I want to be, not doing the things that I feel I need to do, that I feel really strongly passionate about. Instead, I'm just going to be mad. And that's the easy way out. It's so easy to not be in tune with our needs and overcoming our challenges. That is a process that requires great self-awareness. It requires great focus and diligence and perseverance, and you have to believe in yourself even when no one else is, because at some point during the journey, that's part of it. At some point during the journey, you're going to have incredible difficulties. At some point in the journey, there's going to be all sorts of challenges, and ultimately, it all comes down to one thing. Are you going to give up, and you're just going to give in to the fear and the anger, and you're just going to get stuck, and you're just going to blow up good stuff in your life, and good opportunities of time, good opportunities of relationships, of energy, etc.? Or are you not going to give up and you're going to stay with it and stick with it? This is an incredible opportunity. I cannot say it enough. This next lunar cycle is amazing. But it requires that focus. It requires that absolute understanding of ourselves and when we're being less than our best selves, as well as that understanding of what is my goal? What am I shooting for? Because again, with all this warrior energy, it's very focused. It needs to know specifically, this is what I'm going for. This is my goal. This is how I need to grow to be able to overcome this particular obstacle on the way to this goal. So again, embrace it because the challenge, again, that spectrum is so wide. And on the one hand, it's like, wow, amazing, changing our lives, right? As well as sowing the seeds for future seasons. It's not like, this 30 days, and this is like naturally there will be 30 days after that, another lunar cycle after that, etc. But this is really a crossroads in many ways, because the particular pressure of Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius square this energy, we're not going to be seeing this particular opportunity again. And you could say that really for every transit, but this is a particular amalgamation, a particular configuration of astrological energies, of things coming together, that we either are going to shoot up like a rocket in really beautiful ways, or we're going to explode. I mean, okay, maybe that's kind of the two extremes, or maybe we go up, but we're not quite at the right direction. It all comes down to the same thing. What is our self-awareness? What is our focus? What are our goals? How true are we being to ourselves? And again, are we giving in to the fear or not? So I think that's the last thing for today, is just know what you fear and know what you have to do to conquer that fear, so that fear does not become a reality, so that you do not live in that fear, so that you do not torture yourself with that fear, because so often fear is not necessary. It helps us to understand what we don't need in our lives, what we need to get away from. And as long as we just understand our fears and then seek to overcome them with this transit, we got it. Easy. And again, it all comes down to the same thing, just not giving up. One last thing I wanted to focus on. So Mercury is in Libra for about another day. Venus is in Sagittarius for about another day. That's a separate thing. We'll get to that in just a moment. But I think, again, it's so easy with Mercury being in Libra, even when it goes over into Scorpio in about a day's time, either way, it's conjunct Mars. So it's so easy to think cruel thoughts, to speak cruel thoughts. Again, it's also so easy to as I've exhibited during these videos, to be focused and yes, let's go. So with every energy, again, it's a choice, and it's a conscious choice as well as a subconscious choice. Again, the key, yet again, is we need to understand our subconscious all the more so during this time, and be very diligent with ourselves, and not, speaking to that particular conjunction, not projecting, as I was saying a little bit earlier, onto our relationships. And this could also be about not projecting about relationships in general, because if we are trying to use all this passion of, I just need to get into a relationship, that's not your highest interest. I mean, maybe being in a relationship could be, but my point is this: another person will never ever be able to fulfill you like you can fulfill yourself. They can add onto it. Relationships are magical. They can be magical anyways. It's a beautiful thing, but I think a key thing here, especially with Venus going into Capricorn, well, that relates, but that's another thing. We'll get to that. A key thing to focus on, to really make sure that your passion is on the right goal, is even if you were in a great relationship, what transformation would you need to be fulfilling yourself and fulfilling your life? So you have the relationship. Just imagine that. If you're falling into that very easy pitfall during that time, and during this time, which is no shame, it's all good. It happens. Especially if it's unconscious, it happens. We need to think about these things. It has to be conscious for us to deal with it in the first place, right? If you are focused so much on a relationship, again, just imagine you already have it, and then ask yourself, okay, what will make me happy? Because that relationship will not be the thing. The great, amazing transformation over this next lunar cycle is not going to be a particular object or a relationship. It might be the growth process to be able to get to having these things in our lives, but essentially the growth process is the great thing. So ask yourself, how is it that I need to grow? And stay focused on that. One last thing. So Venus goes into Capricorn in about a day. That is helping us a lot as per just being able to really stay focused on our relationships. We have a Venus retrograde coming up with the new year, and it's going to be in Capricorn. So this is going to be a major theme. We'll cover this as time goes on. Again, this is more of a kind of seeing it off on the horizon thing. But then again, Venus goes into Capricorn in a day. So this is a part of this. Just stay focused on, I think it'll be very natural actually, but it's good to stay consciously focused on what this energy is about, which is focusing on the relationships that are really important to you and really stable in your life. Venus and Sagittarius, what we had for the last 2 weeks, was lovely in many ways, of course, but it's a time period of more about exploration, more about being open. Venus going into Capricorn, when it comes to relationships, I mean, exploration, being open, is when we get really serious about, okay, these are the people who are my colleagues, these are the people that are important to me, these are the people that I'm building these relationships with over time and with energy. So that's a major focus. Again, we'll get into that as time goes on. I feel like there's something there in relation to this new moon, just that it'll be supporting it. It's sextile. Venus is in Capricorn, earth energy, all this water energy. So I think that's a good thing to stay focused on, is what goals are you working on, not only for yourself, because there's going to be several goals here. As per ourself, self-awareness, diligence, focus, growth, transformation, evolution, but also as per other people, what you're working on as per with your colleagues, as per those group projects. It'll be different for each person, but I think that's a major theme as well. Infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste. As always, I'm doing readings, info in the about section, description section. Peace.